who are we finding now? Sky Kova. Good luck to you, Sky Kova. Let's look at this kingdom. Draw. Black Cat is draw. Enchantress is draw. Black Cat draws one immediately. Enchantress draws, it costs you 1 this turn and draws you 2 next turn, which nets you 1 draw. Those are the only 2 draw cards. Given that they're both only +1 draw, definitely draws a little bit weak in this kingdom, so we'll want to get trashed. These are good trashing. Well, we can bonfire away all of our coppers. You buy a bonfire, and then you can immediately trash 2 cards and play that copper. We can't get estates into play, so there's no way we can bonfire our estates. So I think we might want to set the states aside on the island mat. You buy an island. It's a one-time thing because the island goes away too. So if we bought like 3 islands, we can get rid of our states. That's worth thinking about. Spice Merchant can also trash coppers. Villages. We've got village green. We've got walled village. I said we got walled village, and we've got snowy village. Snowy village is kind of awkward because you ignore any further actions after you play it. So you can't really amass snowy villages because like the first one will shut off the second one. It is 4 actions 1 buy though, so it's definitely strong. We probably want snowy villages like our supplemental village. You play it towards the end of your turn. And we're mostly using these because these are obviously stackable. And then lastly, gains. Well, Cobbler can gain us stuff. It's like a workshop. Yeah, I mean you're probably right, but it's not the attitude to have versus your opponent. So I'm considering gaining Cobbler. I mean, we want probably Spice Merchant to trash, we want Island to trash, but Cobbler can get us that. Also considering just getting Seaway. I mean, plus buy is not bad, and if I want the 4 costs anyway, might as well put a token on it. Seaway is just you get a 4 cost card, and then also your plus buy token goes onto that card. So every time you play that card or any card from that pile, you're getting plus buy. I think I'm just to take the Cobbler. And we'll take the Black Cat. We have no other actions in our deck right now. Cobbler is not an action. Cobbler is a night card, so it doesn't cost an action to play. You play it after your buy phase. So I'm not worried about adding a terminal to my deck because it's the only terminal action card I have. Alright, do we want a second Cobbler? Maybe we just want a second Cobbler. I would love to have seen my Cobbler turn 3, because if you see the duration card turn 3, you get the effect turn 4 and it goes right back into your shuffle. Here, even though you saw it turn 4 before the shuffle, what's going to happen is it's going to stay out of the shuffle, and so it's sort of functionally missing the shuffle anyway. Alright, so I shouldn't get an island here, I don't think, because I can't play the island and the Black Cat. These Black Cats are kind of good defense against them taking islands. They can't really afford to, or they'll get cursed. So I could just take a Spice Merchant and trash a copper and draw a Black Cat. I could take a village. So if I play this Black Cat, I'll be able to play the other Black Cat as well. I think probably just a Spice Merchant. I do want to get trashed. Well, we can take village now, island now. Whatever one I don't take, I'll probably take next turn anyway, so it doesn't really matter the order, because I'm getting 1 off of my island map. What am I saying? Not off my island. I'm getting 1 off my Cobbler play. So I took the island, so I can get a village now. Is there any way to discard cards here? That's relevant because village green has this phenomenal effect that occurs if you discard it. But I'm not seeing anything in this kingdom that would ever discard a card. So I see no reason to get village green. Am I missing something? I think that's right. So now it's just bonfire, I think. Get rid of some coppers. So I think Payload long term can be Poorhouse. Poorhouse is not often a very strong card. Obviously it's bad in the opening because you have tons of treasures. And it's -1 per treasure in your hand. If you have a handful of Poorhouse and some number of coppers, you basically always hit 4. Because if you have Poorhouse and no coppers, you hit 4. If you have Poorhouse and 1 copper, you get 4, -1, plus the 1 of copper, which is still 4. You know, if you have Poorhouse and 2 coppers, it's 4, -2, and then +2 from the coppers. So it's a little bit awkward because 4 is not necessarily the number you really want to hit a lot. But it can get good if A, you have surplus action, and B, you can get rid of coppers, both of which are true here. Obviously, part of the problem is it's terminal. So if you're considering like gold versus payload, gold for payload versus poorhouse versus payload, I can't talk. Gold for payload versus poorhouse for payload. That's what I was trying to say. If you do that, gold isn't taking actions, but poorhouse takes an action to play every time. And so the cost of poorhouse isn't really just poorhouse, it's like poorhouse plus a village. And so like $5 and 2 buys for like poorhouse and village is not necessarily better than gold in many cases. That being said, in this kingdom, there's plenty of actions to go around, easy ability to gain them. And so I don't mind taking the poorhouse here. In fact, I should probably do that now, because I'm very low on treasures. Well, I wanted to gain an island here, but it looks like I might have to gain a village just to keep my turn going. And I can get an island later. I really want to start thinking about outposts soon. We don't really have, I think, a strong enough deck to support it yet, but pretty soon, this is just like a free extra turn. And obviously, having 2 turns is better than having 1. Where's the copper is? Alright, we can trash a copper. Play a poorhouse. Doesn't really matter where we play those black cats. What shall we buy? Let's buy the island now. So again, I could buy a 4 cost here, gain a 4 cost here. I'd rather gain the village at the top if I need it, because that's where I'm most likely to need the village. I'm happy if I draw through to my island, but if my island's on top, I might not have a village to be able to draw in the first place. And so I think it's safer to buy the island and then gain the village off of Cobbler. I also should ask if I even need another village right now. I might not. I might just want to gain like enchantments or something for draw. Let's get a snowy village. I'm getting this because it also has plus buy, and poorhouse is very cheap, so we can pick up poorhouses with our extra buy. Set aside an estate, play a poorhouse. End actions. We have plenty of action now, so let's buy a poorhouse and an enchantress. Maybe just another poorhouse. I also want to seaway something soon, so I'll have a lot of plus buy. I'm overdrawing my deck. I can just get another poorhouse. I feel like there's probably a slightly better sequence of plays here. I think I should have had the ability to buy and gain multiple cards sooner. Maybe I was getting Snowy Village sooner instead of one of the walled villages, so I had more plus buy. Maybe it was getting into the poorhouses a little bit sooner. But this feels just a little slower than it could have been. Just get an island now. Hopefully we can seaway something here, and then we'll be in business. Set that aside. Play all 3 of these. Alright. End actions. So we want our outpost now. And let's seaway, well, we have plenty of walled villages. We can also seaway the poorhouse. So either way, I currently have 3 of each, so I'm getting plus 3 buy from those 3. I guess the question is, which one do I want most next turn? Probably poorhouse. We have enough villages. Let's gain enchanters for draw. Where my village is at? There you are. Well, we can't quite play all of you. So I want extra buys and money, or do I want this? I think because I have an outpost turn coming up, which is only going to have 3 cards in hand, I might just play this enchantress to be safe. And then we can buy another 2 villages. Another village enchantress poorhouse. Let's do it that way. Draw with enchantress. Let's gain maybe just another village. Want to make sure this turn goes off. I only saw 1 village so far. Alright, yeah, so now we're well on our way. From here I think we'll have a win. Play this. Play all these. consider getting an island now. Just put that spice merchant away. So I probably just want some more villages, some more draw, village, poorhouse, enchantress. Looks good to me. I probably could have considered that a little bit more, but like I said, I think we're substantially in the lead, so I don't want to spend too much time thinking I don't need to. I wanted to gain an island here, so I could set away that spice merchant finally. But we're in another one of these situations where I've functionally got one village. And so I kind of want to make sure my turn goes off, so I'm going to gain a second walled village here. Snow Village is a village, but we said it's going to shut off all further actions for the rest of the turn. Oh, here we go. Thank you. Go, black cats, go. Alright. Get him, kitty. Oh, this is brutal. God, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Skycova. Well, yeah, black cat can be a little bit nasty. In case it wasn't clear, what's happening is every time they gain a victory card, you can play the black cat from your hand directly, and you can give them a curse. Okay, well, so now we got tons of villages on hand, so maybe we can just gain an island. Well, I also don't have a draw in hand. Yeah, sure, let's island anyway. This is still a lot of draw. Plus, like, we just know all the cards down here that we're not getting to are just black cats, which we don't need to get to. Set aside our spice merchant, play outpost. I can trigger the shuffle. I'm happy putting some black cats on top, I think, because I can get a village with cobbler. Actually, can we win here? We have 8 buys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's points lead. Yeah, we have enough money for it, right? 4, 8, 16. Yeah, that's the way. I probably should have paid more attention to the pilot sooner. Alright, there we go. Good game. Alright, so key takeaways. Well, shoot, I typed GG shortly after they left. They'll never know that I thought that was a good game. So what are the key takeaways of this game? I should have stayed on the game screen. I want to see what they did. Because their deck just never seemed to come together very well. They only have one terminal action card. Oh, no, they have islands. But the islands are off on their map. They only have one terminal action, namely Black Cat. So the Snow Village didn't really seem necessary yet, because again, you need villages to resolve terminal action cards. Snowy Village is good in moderation. Like, this is a good example of how the deck should be composed. You have a bunch of other villages, and you have like a Snowy Village, and you want to play the other villages early to support your draw. You know, like Walled Village, Black Cat. Those two can draw, and then you play the Snowy Village at the end to play all your other terminal action cards. Because after you've played all the non-terminal actions, your Walled Villages, your Spice Merchants, and so forth, then you can leave with the Snowy Village, and this won't matter because you won't be getting any further plus action anyway. And so you'll get the full effect of +4 actions. That also works very well with duration draw like Enchantress, because you play your Snowy Village, let's say after you've drawn your deck, then you play 3 Enchantresses with the Snowy Village effect. You're getting the draw next turn. That's better than, for example, Snowy Village works better with Enchantress than Black Cat, because often with Black Cat you have to play like a village or two at the start of the turn before you can start drawing with Black Cats. And if you lead with Snowy Village, well, all other further cantrips, villages, etc. are no longer giving you any plus action. All those cantrip cards become functional terminal action cards. So with Snowy Village Enchantress, you're functionally like getting the Enchantress draw first at the start of the turn from last turn's Enchantresses, then playing the Snowy Village, and so that's a bit better. Outpost is really good. I think we saw that. We're functionally getting an extra turn. Like, even if we couldn't have pallet out there, we were actually about to take the second half of our turn. And so even if there were like 16 cards left in the piles, we could have conceivably bought 8 that turn and like 8 the next turn. So Outpost is another one of those cards that I think strongly supports engines. A big money deck doesn't get a whole lot out of taking an extra 3-card turn in the first place. You probably can't afford Province, and you're not going to find your Outpost every turn anyway. With an engine, if you draw your deck every turn, you're getting an extra turn every turn, and hopefully you can draw your deck a second time, and so you're getting huge amounts of benefit from Outpost. You saw getting trashed early is important. The draw here is relatively weak, right? Black Cat is functionally +1 card, -1 action. If you spend an action to play it, you spend a draw to draw it, and you get +2 cards. So what Black Cat's really doing is sort of, and this is really how I think of a lot of like +2 card and then nothing else cards, is like converting one action into draw. You spend an action to play it, and you're getting net 1 card out of it. And so Black Cat on its own isn't, like if you just think about like total amount of resources and some, you know, undifferentiated mass of action slash card slash coin, etc. Black Cat's not increasing your total amount of stuff. It's just converting the stuff that is action into the stuff that is cards. But if you got a card like Wall Village in the Kingdom, right, this is net increasing your actions, right? You know, subtract out the +1 card, +1 action, you're getting +1 action with no drawback. And so functionally, you put these two together, what we really want is draw. You know, we don't necessarily need action for the sake of action. But if we have a card that is just +1 action, namely Walled Village, and then a card that's like -1 action +1 card, you're putting those two together, and then the net effect of those two is +1 card. And so that's how we were really drawing. And that's just how I think about, you know, Village plus limited draw. But that also means draw is in high priority, right? Like, you have to buy a 4 cost and a 2 cost, that's 6 coins, $2, just to get a single draw into your deck. So you really want to get out the stage, the coppers, even more so than usual. You see, we had no coppers left. We'd already got all of our estates onto our island mat. We got the spice merchant onto our island mat. And that's even more crucial here, where there's like an engine to be built, and there is draw, but it's very limited, because just to cover the draw cost of 1 copper or 1 estate, you have to get a Wall Village and a Black Cat for every one of those. And so the more we can put away, the more we can trash, the fewer draw we need, the less draw we need. And then lastly, Poorhouse. Poorhouse is very situational. This is a very good kingdom for it. We had plenty of action, so we didn't have to worry too much about the fact that Poorhouse is terminal, whereas Treasures are not, which is usually its main drawback. But we had very limited draw, right? We were just talking about that. And Poorhouse, you get 4 coins at only -1 draw. Whereas let's say we had 2 silvers, that also gets us 4 coins, and it doesn't cost an action. We have to draw an extra card to get it. So in a kingdom like this, where there was plenty of action to go around, there's 10 walled villages, we could have gone into village greens if those ran out. We had Snowy Village, but drawing was a little bit difficult. Poorhouse seems like a pretty plausible payload. Alright, that's all I got. Until next time.